Hey, what's up YouTube? It's the HiFi Brothers.
If you can pick one speaker from Sonos that can do it all, well, it's this, the Sonos Era 100.
Let's do this. Welcome to today's episode, everybody. We have a pretty exciting one for our viewers out there. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the HiFi Brothers. We do talk about Sonos quite a bit on this channel, as well as a bunch of other products. If you kind of like the video, we really appreciate if you would subscribe. Please support us. We are trying to grow. We can't do this further without your support. So if you could drop a like, comment, and then subscribe and share, that'd be really appreciative. For those of you that are returning, welcome, and hopefully you get a lot out of this video. Just a little bit of backstory. So I bought these speakers on Sonos's website. I've been looking at these for quite some time. These aren't anything new. These have been out for a few years now, and we'll get into it a little bit, like how they compare to the ones, but they did replace the Sonos ones, which have been out for an extremely long time. I came from those speakers. Decided to upgrade from those. Yeah, I got a pretty good deal on these speakers. The meat of the video is really the versatility of these speakers, which we both agree they're probably the most versatile speakers that Sonos makes.
I agree.
And we'll get into why. But yeah, why don't we go ahead and give our viewers a quick spec rundown about these speakers.
Absolutely, so here we go.
That's pretty cool, quick spec rundown. But yeah, I think one question that might pop up for a lot of people, which I definitely did have when I upgraded, was how do these compare to the Sonos ones / the Play ones? And Ralph, while you're actually talking about the comparison between the two, I actually have both of them right here.
Yeah, here they are.
And we'll do some pan and scan so that we get a little bit better, because I don't want to hold these, after a while it gets a little heavy. But yeah, go ahead and tell our viewers what the differences between the two are.
Absolutely. Okay, so the Play ones, obviously, it's a little bit smaller speaker. Now, it's only a mono speaker. Compared to the Era 100s, those are a true stereo speaker. This one has Wi-Fi 6, the Era 100s, and the Play ones only just do Wi-Fi, and these have Bluetooth support. The Play ones don't have any Bluetooth at all. So if you're trying to use your phone to connect to these, obviously you're going to have a better chance with the Era 100s.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a huge significant upgrade. So for people like me that have been using Sonos products for 10, 15 years now, a lot of their older products didn't have Bluetooth at all. That just was not their thing. It was always, Wi-Fi connectivity. You had to go through their app. That's how you connected. If you did get their sound bars, you can obviously plug and play with your TV through HDMI or Bitstream or SPDIF.
Yep.
The Bluetooth is definitely something that Sonos is doing with a lot more of their speakers now. Before, they did have Bluetooth connectivity, so that way when you connected it for the first time, but it wasn't like you can stream via Bluetooth.
Right.
So now you can do that with the Era 100s compared to the ones. When you say Play ones, I mean, we're referring to both. The Play ones upgraded to the ones, there wasn't really a significant difference between the two. I want to say it was more of a refresh design that added some functionality, such as the voice assistant, which had the built-in microphone, which I have here. That was probably the biggest part. But going to the Era 100s, it's a huge difference.
Yes.
So you're definitely getting more. You're getting, like you said, you're getting that dual angle tweeter for stereo sound, as opposed to the ones which only could do mono. I used to own a Sonos Play 3. I feel that this was the upgrade of those speakers, which is actually Sonos's very first speaker ever.
Nice.
Was the Play 3s. The Era 100s are definitely the successor to that speaker, because that had a woofer and it actually had two tweeters as well. They both had stereo capability.
All right, bro, well, that's pretty good stuff. I mean, now we did talk about the specs. Why don't we get into the versatility about this speaker? Why don't you tell our viewers what you've experienced about these.
When we talk about versatility, it's, you know, in what setup and what configuration, how can you connect them, etc. Standalone, they're great. You can connect to them Bluetooth if you want to go that direction. You can use the Sonos app if you want to do that. They do have the line in, which you did talk about.
Right.
That is an extra adapter you have to buy. You can buy the Sonos branded one, which is $20, which is just a USB-C to a 3.5mm jack. If you want to go the more inexpensive route, you can just get some generic one on Amazon. That'll probably work just fine. But that gives you the ability to connect your record player. If it has a phono preamp, you could connect that directly into the Sonos Era 100. And there you go. You have a very versatile speaker that you can make that connectivity. And it's not just limited to the turntable either. You can use a CD player, any other device. Cool. You can hook up your computer to it, and you can use it as a gaming speaker if you really wanted to go that route.
That's so cool.
But what's cool is that it's compact enough to where you can put it anywhere, and you can use it for however you want to. And if you want to pair it in a stereo pair, it's even better, or you can use them as your surround sounds.
Cool.
And that's kind of how I'm using it right now. All right, Ralph. Now, in addition to the versatility, let's get into sound quality.
Absolutely.
Right? In terms of sound quality, you were able to come over. I gave you a demonstration of these speakers in my surround sound.
Yes.
What do you think about them?
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. They actually sound pretty awesome, to be honest with you. When I was sitting perfectly dead center, you know, to your listening area, and you actually switched from stereo to Atmos, and stereo sounded pretty good. But when you enhance that sound to the spatial audio to Atmos, it was in another level. It was so awesome, especially with certain instruments that were hitting inside of the surrounds. I was blown away. I'm like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. Sound quality, yeah, these things are pretty impressive. Bro, since you had these for a while, what are your experience with these speakers?
I was kind of skeptical at first because I was like, well, how much of an upgrade can these speakers be, especially in a surround sound setup, from the Play ones? And when I took them home and I started watching movies and I listened to music, I had a similar experience. I couldn't believe the soundstage that I was getting behind me. And I think that really comes down to the fact that it has that the tweeter. There was definitely a lot of sound that was coming out from the back.
That's awesome.
And I definitely got more of a wider soundstage from the surrounds, even though the space between the two were exactly the same that I had the Play ones. For music playback, I do have my setting for the music as ambient because I don't want the back sound to overpower my arc that's in the front.
Yeah.
But like you said, when we're listening to music in Dolby Atmos, you do get that spatial audio, and it was like you can hear the layers of sound in certain parts of the song.
Yes.
That was coming from behind you and then in front. So you got a lot more immersion.
Yes.
Right? Compared to just like listening to it and like just standard playback. That's kind of where I would say from the two, that's where I was the most impressed. All right, Ralph, well, let's get into some final thoughts and just talk about some things that we might have missed, talk about our pros and cons real quick and just overall, you know, whether or not we would recommend these or how we would recommend them. But why don't you go ahead and get started first and talk about these speakers?
Absolutely. Go right off the bat. I'm going to say, you know, these are very versatile. They are the Swiss Army knife of these of Sonos. Now, when I was listening to these, like I said, these sound really awesome. I think this setup is for a lot of viewers out there. Use them for surround sounds or even the stereo. The only downfall that I have, they're very limited on Dolby Atmos support, right? Now, if you get the Era 300s, those are fully supportive of Dolby Atmos. Other than that, like I said, bro, I mean, I would definitely recommend these speakers. Now, what are your final thoughts of these?
Whether or not you are getting into Sonos for the first time and you have a limited budget, or you need to get started with surrounds or a stereo pair, these are going to be the cheapest option right now for Sonos. Outside of some of the other branded speakers, which, you know, we're not going to get into those, but like as far as like Sonos branded speakers, this is definitely going to be the least barrier of entry to get into.
Right.
I would say that just from having used these for about a month now, they're one of my favorite speakers that Sonos makes from their new set.
That's so cool.
And I couldn't recommend them enough. You know, for $199, they're a good deal. But you know what, Ralph? I think that concludes our video.
Absolutely. So make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification button.
And as always,
keep it hi-fi.